you've got 2017, 2018 were the year of speculation. You know, a lot of ICOs, initial coin offerings, people using stories to raise money, where I believe 2019, 2020 is the year of utilization. So your question is exactly right on. It's, you know, we need to get from the storytelling to, hey, what are real use case studies? How are small businesses, the lifeblood of every economy, utilizing digital currencies to enable their business, not just the speculation period. Yes.
But in this case, how are you using it?
More utility. So for us, we really feel like we're a voice of all entrepreneurs around the world. How do you open up a global e-commerce?
That's not bad for somebody that doesn't know how to do videos, right? Woo!
Yeah.
All right. So I wanted you guys just to see, I mean, we have done some of these amazing deals in amazing places. So as I talk today, I'm not just talking about hypothetical, I'm not just telling you like, hey, I think this can work. I want to give you real application. I want to show you really how small and medium-sized businesses are going to use blockchain. But before we kind of go forward to blockchain, let's look at where we've been. You know, every 10 years there's a cycle in the world, and really new eras come about. 1990s, that was the era of the PCs. You know, business PCs really taking over jobs. People starting to go to the PC. The year of 2000 was webs, it was domains. You had offline businesses going to online. You had local addresses going to online addresses. Then you went to the year of 2010. This was apps, the year of, you know, Google apps and iOS apps. But also mobility, mobile phones, you know, 5 billion mobile phones, really the 3G network and the life of that. So what's the next era? And I look at it as blockchain. You know, the 2020s, I think right now, 2019, we're just in the education mode. I mean, just stand educating, what is blockchain, how does it work? So we're in this world of just educating people on what it can be, what's the power of it. Where I believe that 2020 and beyond is really going to be the years of blockchain. People start to understand its uses, start to understand how to apply it, and really mass market adoption of it. Plus, I think in the world, like Doug and I were talking about, we do business a lot in China. And there's so many scams, and there's so much craziness, and there's so much noise in the world on the internet. It's very hard to break through who's real and who's not. Who's really doing the things, and who's saying the things that they're doing, and in a trusted way, in a transparent way. So what we like to be is a voice, you know, in the market, really trying to go out there and be a voice of entrepreneurs, not just copy what everybody's saying and be the, you know, me too. So today I'm going to talk about, you know, blockchain. We created our own blockchain because we were having those issues with firewalls and those issues with banking, those issues with trust. And we started in 2015, we launched March 19, 2018. It took us 3 years, you know, but we never raised a dime. This was all self-funded through my partner and I. We're about now probably $9 to $10 million into this. And it was all self-funded. We never went outside because, you know, I grew up in a world to where you go build it. And then you prove it, and then you go tell people about it and see who wants to join you with it. So today, applied blockchain. There's 3 things I'm going to talk about. You know, in a small business, and this was great to have Stanton talk about digitizing assets. So Nasgo, we're going to show you how you can digitize an asset in literally 2 minutes, and you can issue it. During the ICO stages, you know, when the world was going crazy and ICOs were everything, you know, people were charging $250,000 to $500,000 to digitize an asset, to create a token. And it was about 5 to 6 months to do it. We can do it now, in minutes and for a couple of $100. So we want to show you that how we can make it very simple that every brand, every small, medium-sized business, every song, every artist, every product, whatever it might be, can have a digital asset tied to it. The second is, now that you've got a brand or a digital asset or a token, how do you advertise? How do you expose it to the world? And we've got a really cool way that we think the world is going to. I sit in Times Square the other day, and I looked around at all of this billboard media, and I said, this is so old. This is old technology that people have to have millions of dollars to get up there, where if I could actually have just something in air spinning that people can see my advertising, you've completely revamped that whole old model, made it available to the mass market. And I'm going to show you that. And the third is, now that you've got a token, you've exposed it, that's great. Well, how does anybody utilize it? How does actually transactions happening? So if I actually get one of your tokens, and now it's in my wallet, that's the challenge, that's all it's been. Is that I have a wallet, we talk about, here's you a card and there's me a card. Here's a wallet, all there was a send and receive. Like, here's yours, here's mine, going back and forth. We want to make that towards the next evolution with merchant processing. Make it very simple for a small business. I mean, a third of the world is underbanked. How are you going to go ask somebody in Vietnam to get a Visa MasterCard merchant account? Or in China, where first of all, so here we all sit and we go, hey, I'd love to go over to China and sell my real estate. Well, first of all, you can't even get your website into China because it's blocked. Number two, they don't accept, well, most people don't have Visa or MasterCard, they have UnionPay. Do you accept UnionPay? No. And so you have these disconnects in the world of how do I do commerce? So we wanted to make it to where you got one world of commerce. Make it very simple that people can transact, collaborate, communicate, and innovate together. Sound good? Is everybody still awake?
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. All right, so let's get into it. So first is Nasgo tokenization, literally in minutes, to where you can tokenize an asset and go on, do the supply, do the decimals, do the name, issue the asset, and it's done. That's something that nobody is doing, to make it so simple to digitize that asset right onto blockchain. And again, I go back to, we wanted to make it mass market. I'm not a developer, I don't have the secret handshake. I wanted to make it to where Bob's Burger Shack can actually go and digitize an asset. Second is, how does Bob actually expose that into the marketplace? How does he make it to where I've got a token for rewards, for incentives, for loyalty? How do I actually go out and help people start to connect with that and play with it? And third is the Amico and the AmiPay. So we wanted to make it very simple for people to be able to transact the new world of merchant processing and in a global ecosystem. All right, so tokenize. So if you think back in 1969, this was the internet. It was 4 nodes, it was 4 colleges that basically kind of put together a little network and said, here's a way for us to communicate and collaborate. So how do you go from that to today where there's over 1 million websites every day, new websites produced every single day? Well, it's because you got somebody that stepped in and said, internet, HTTP, protocols, techie, most people don't know what the hell that means. Let's step in and make it super simple. And there was a company called GoDaddy that said, hey, let's make it very simple. A website's a very simple thing. Come in and buy a domain address. Now that you've got the domain address, now let's get you a website. Let's really kind of your asset going out there. And they made it very simple for people in hosting. I'll host your website, your asset onto the internet. So we feel like Nasgo, we created this digitizing of assets and made it so simple to tokenize, but also to make it to where you could go on to blockchain and buy your domain address on blockchain. Make it to where if your website needs hosting, we can provide decentralized hosting. So now you've got a global commerce, so you can get into countries like China and other places and be able to show your company and introduce it. And the third is being able to tokenize your business. So create that digital asset in, it's funny, I shot a video and I said, creating a token in less than 10 minutes. And it was 2 minutes. And I said, well, I guess I'll talk for another 8 minutes. Because we've made it really that simple without writing a single line of code. This is something to where anybody can literally create a digital asset in minutes. And all of this for less than, now NSG has gone up, so I'll call it $400. So $400, something that was, other companies were charging, $250,000 to $500,000, 5 to 6 months, you're talking $400 in minutes. So we feel like that's the type of, we've been coined as Cheryl, Forbes, Entrepreneur, Inc. magazine, all are calling us the GoDaddy of blockchain. They really see that we've got something to simplify for the mass market. How can you go on and create a digital asset and then move it onto blockchain? The second is advertising. So this is a really fun one for me and super passionate. I'm 46, my partner is 36. We're these just goofballs. We love to have fun and we love to innovate and think outside the box and do goofy things. But I will tell you what it's done is it's made it to where we will never look at traditional infrastructure and what people are doing today. So I believe, and this is just my thought, I believe that the world is going to gamified experiences. Social media and all these are, you are not in the game. You are just liking. It's like followers are just following. They're outside of the actual game. And so if you look at gamers is the largest movement of people in the world. It's bigger than religion. I didn't realize how big it was until I started getting into it. Pokemon Go, do you guys realize there's 124 million players a month? 124 million. Almost 1 billion downloads in Pokemon Go because it gamifies an experience of people connecting, collaborating, playing together. And that's what we did with Vapor. So traditional legacy models, you look at Instagram, you look at Facebook, you look at Snapchat, they have, saw with Facebook, major privacy issues. They own your data. The second is they monetize your content. Let's try that again. They monetize your content. So you think about all the content creators, they're trying to build up their following so they can hopefully get monetized. Well, think about the platform. Think of how brilliant that is. Facebook, you sit there every day trying to figure out what's a perfect post so you can look cool to all your friends and family, and they're monetizing it. So you fill in the content, they make the money. So we want to change that. We want to get it back to the content creators. And then last is, I call their silo syndrome, meaning Twitter doesn't necessarily like Facebook. They have no connection. They're centralized, they're siloed to where they're building their business, not everybody building it together. So we look at Vapor, we look at the next generation of advertising is, number one, there's no personal data collected. You go into Vapor and you literally create an account, you are in. You can start playing instantly. All it has is an address for you. The second is it makes it super simple to monetize your content. Every content creator can literally put content and lock it, and somebody has to use a token to open it, or I can reward anybody that looks at my content with one of my tokens. So I can actually incentivize. So think about, it's funny, I was talking to somebody that with Vapor and then Facebook, and I said, what do you think? How do you feel about the difference? And they go, why am I doing Facebook? I go on there and I give everything, or I go into Vapor and people are giving to me. People are actually incentivizing me to play with them, to actually look at their pictures, to watch their videos, and I get their tokens that I can then go redeem for products and services at their company. And then the last is tokens are on blockchain. So you got to think about, it's a grid and it's connected. If you guys really start to look down the road, I see the world so connected. If you guys are familiar with IoT, the Internet of Things, you guys familiar with that? So Internet of Things is everything is connected. So just imagine you're actually seeing one of my posts, and I work for Maytag. You know, I just bought a refrigerator. I have a washing machine. I went on and watched something that Maytag did. They gave me some Maytag tokens. My Maytag washing machine breaks. It automatically calls via internet, calls to Maytag. Maytag's service center is already connected to my calendar, so it already sets up to my calendar to come fix the washing machine. And once they fix it, they just use their Maytag token. All done. Everything's connected. My refrigerator sees that there's milk that needs to be ordered. It orders it through Ralph's. I have Ralph tokens. Tokens automatically process the transaction. So everything in the world in blockchain, the beauty of it is it's all on a grid. It's all accounted for. It makes it to where everything can talk to each other instead of siloed. So I wanted to give you real life examples of vapor and how cool this is and how different it is than traditional, you know, what you guys are used to right now, and everybody kind of in the social media and paying and not knowing what my ROI is, what's my customer acquisition cost, what's my ROI. So we actually met these fitness instructors. He was the
extreme weight loss.
Extreme weight loss. Super cool people, Chris and Heidi Powell. So they have a company called Transform Fitness, and as we talked to them, their major issues were, how do we drive awareness in new markets? So how do we go to Asia? They can't break into Asia, they're on Instagram, and Instagram's blocked in Asia. Facebook is blocked in China. Google is blocked in China. So they have no presence in China, but they want to get over there. The second is their marketing costs. How do I increase with marketing costs my ROI? How do I make sure that the things that I'm doing, it's actually getting monetized and I can see the ROI directly? And the last is IT department. Just, you know, how do we keep up with all the referral and tracking and things? So what we did is we tokenized them, then put them onto Vapor, and any of the content that they put onto the app, they can lock it. And so they can do a 10-day challenge, and they can say, hey, to come in and access this 10-day challenge, you just need 10 of our Transform tokens. So it allows their community to go and pre-purchase experiences that they are providing to their customers. And it keeps the loyalty because people they have your tokens. They want to interact in your ecosystem. The second is, and this is something that's so cool over in China that we don't do here. You know, when you go buy something, let's say you go buy some yogurt, and you have a tip jar right there. If you paid cash, and you got cash back, how often do you go and take another dollar and put it in the tip jar? Versus, if you do a credit card, do you notice they have the machine that then they flip around, the person's looking at you, they flip it around and it says, do you want to do a 10, 15, or 20%? You're like, damn it, okay, there's 15% or whatever it is. But did you notice, it wasn't the person asking you for a tip, it was the system they turned around and it asked you for a tip. And it made you go, you know, okay, I'm gonna give you a tip. We've actually created the system because I tell every social media, I ask, you know, have you asked for money? And they go, yeah, that doesn't work well. People don't like you to ask them for money. You know, you are entertaining me on social media. Well, what the system does is it will come up after the content and say, do you want to leave a gift? So we have little gems that you can leave a gift. Let me just tell you, in China, this is massive. Everything they do over there, you have social media, young kids making 14 to 16 million a year. Because after every piece of content, somebody will just do one. But they have hundreds of thousands of people doing it every day. and they're making millions. But over here, every social media, influencer I talk to, they're struggling. They've got a second job, but yet they have 1 million followers, and they can't monetize it. We are not on traditional rails. So like I had mentioned, Google, Facebook, Instagram are blocked in China. They're not over there. So we use satellites. So it's funny, when I say the word vapor, instantly vaporware, right? Like, oh man, it doesn't even exist. It's exactly right. We created it as vapor. So when I go and post a post, I could take a picture right now. I can go and pin it right in Shenzhen, China, and then I can actually reward people in China to watch my content immediately. So it lives in space. It also makes it to where if I have a movie I want to stream, I mean the big thing is Netflix, all of these is streaming video. You can stream movies right through Vapor, and only if you have the Vapor viewer and you actually look up and use the token to buy it, can you see it. So we eliminate virtually 98% of piracy because it's not going across and being able to be shared. It's monetizing because you can't unlock the movie unless you have a digital token. And it makes it to where you can do it globally in any area and feeding content. And then last is using the tokens to actually track. This is the coolest thing, I think, is that because you're on the grid, so how many times have you seen these companies that do mailers? So I mail out. The second it goes out of the office, you have no trackability. That is, I might have 30 of your mailers in my desk. You have no clue. You don't know if I threw them away, where they're at. The cool thing about tokens and being on the grid is that when it goes out, I can actually see if you have my token. I can actually see if you have 30 of my tokens and where you are. So using location, you might have got one of my tokens in Salt Lake City, Utah. I fly back to California. I can see that you're in California now. So I can go in and look on a heat map of my dashboard and see where are all my tokens at. So if I want to do a campaign and I see they're over in Wichita, Kansas, I'm probably going to focus my time in Wichita, Kansas, of where all my people with my tokens are. So we thought this was pretty cool. This was something that just came up yesterday. The SEC has cleared the runway for tokenization aviation. Invest today, marquee jets. Own a stake in the jet token starting at $100. It's something I saw yesterday. It's coming. You can either be on the front of the train or you can be hanging off the back. It's coming. People are recognizing, they're starting to understand the trust and transparency, that I can trust being a part of this, that nobody's doing something funny and shady behind the back scenes. Also, we just came out yesterday, US legislators reintroduced Token Taxonomy Act to exclude crypto from securities laws. So I look at all of these things and all these indications with tokenization and what the laws, because it's been crazy the past year. We'll go a direction and our legal will go, hey, you can't do that. It's like, oh, and so you're kind of moving left and right. But again, that's like anything. When you're the first to the market and when you're starting to understand where the market's going, you can, you have to be flexible.
I've got a question on that. So the U.S. securities laws exist to protect investors. And it's more than just creating a platform where investors and sellers can exchange. There's also a bunch of rules, disclosures that have to be made, information that has to be shared. My sense is all that's being bypassed right now with tokenization. How do we get to where the investors have the protections that the current system gives?
This would be a great Q&A, but right off the bat, you need a standard, you need a template. This is the challenge with ICOs. There was no guide. Nobody knew what it all meant. They had no template that actually vetted out the companies. I look at some of these ICOs. The last time I was in Singapore, and I got up to speak after a guy just sat and talked about for 30 minutes about a precious metal that is happier that people can invest in, and it's happier when it's built. It actually is, it's more flexible, it's more, I got up and I said, this is the biggest crack of shit. I go, are you serious? I go, this is the last time we'll be speaking at these events, because if we're still doing this, this is, we are not even close to where we need to be. So you're exactly right. There needs to be a template, there needs to be something that vets out, so you get rid of all of these storytellers and what's going on. So, great question. Be good on the Q&A panel section too. So I want to also show you, real people, real results. So this was she's a young girl, photographer, has a photo studio, was having a tough time. How do I go out and actually get people to buy my services? So she tokenized, started putting her pictures on Vapor, started incentivizing people with her photo token, and started getting people to engage, and then they can go redeem her photo token for a percentage off one of her studio. Also, in the wedding packages that she was doing, what really actually blew her up was that she would put the tokens in the wedding package and made it to where the bride and groom would give those out to the people and make it to where all of their wedding party would now engage with her to do their wedding parties and actually engage because they had her photo token. Second is Jafar Jackson. Jafar Jackson, a nephew of Michael Jackson, incredibly talented, amazing human being, had been 3 years, didn't want to go into, had every major record label coming after him, and said, I don't want to go that route. I don't want to go the broken model. We met him, we actually tokenized him with his Jusic token and funded his album in 30 days. So all of his fans, his followers, were able to pre-purchase experiences using his token. Now as his album launches, they get to use those tokens on VIP tour, on ringtones, on special meet and greets. All the things that they want to do already, they now get access to. And then last is the blockchain trackability dashboard. I think this is the coolest part, because now you've got a way to say, hey, I've got 750,000 tokens, I've allocated 245,000 out in the market, 5,000 of them have been discovered, meaning people actually saw the content, they're walking around like Pokemon Go. I can look up in augmented reality and I can see what content is around in what place, and I can click on it and I can actually interact with it right through the app. All augmented reality everywhere in the world. And so I can see how many have actually discovered it, then how many have redeemed it, and what's my redemption rate. So every time, think about marketing, how much we spend in marketing dollars with no ROI. You have an ROI on every single token that's redeemed. And I can see where they're all at. Plus I can see what every campaign, what is the best ROI of redemption rate. It might be discovered rate, or it might be redemption rate, whatever I want it to be. But all on one dashboard, simple to manage. Then last is utilized, Miko. So communication, commerce, collaboration. So we wanted to make it like, I look at a restaurant. A restaurant, I go in and I eat at this amazing restaurant. Unless I go and eat there 5 times a week and they know me, they don't know me. They don't even know my name. They basically know my money. And so I can go in there, but they never get to talk to me. Well, with this, with Amico, anytime that your token is discovered and redeemed, they instantly go into your Amico. So I now have a database and I now have a contact list that I can literally create a group, and I can do a voice message to all of my people saying, hey, this Thursday I've got a special, come into happy hour. So I can now communicate with all of my users. I can also use cryptocurrency on any of the shopping and in a digital market. So our Amico handles over 300 cryptocurrencies, plus every currency on the Nasgo network. Instantly, that's less than 5 seconds transactions. So extremely quick. Also, if you want to sell, easy to have a merchant account. So I can be in Vietnam, and instantly have a merchant account that I can start doing global commerce. Something that has been a massive issue for all of these underserved markets and underbanked. So we also talk, when Steve and I, my partner and I, created blockchain, blockchain is heartless. That's why people like it. It's code, it's unbiased, it's no greed, it's no manipulation. But we wanted to, make it have a bigger impact. So we created something called Nasgo. And it was something that we believe is really a game changer in the humanitarian, the social impact. I believe the Holy Grail is perpetual donations. It never runs out. Imagine if the internet gave every time a new website came on, that it gave to humanitarian and social impact. Well, that's what we did, is we created one of our delegates on the Nasco network that every 17 minutes it donates to a charity. So it doesn't think about it, it does it. It's a block reward, and that's given to charities. So 2 weeks ago, I was in Chiang Mai, Thailand, doing a outreach to Patera elephant rescue. This was Patu, that somehow just loved my partner. The second he saw him, he started putting his trunk around him. But we rescued 3 elephants there, and it was in giving a donation of NSG to them. The month before, we were in Cabo San Lucas with Casa Hogar. All the kids there did all these paintings to hang up on their wall. We went and cleaned all their windows, cleaned their whole outside play area, actually built a building for them. And so, wanting to just reach out, we've got a Jamaica outreach next month. So, blockchain is heartless as it is. We wanted to give heart back to it. So what's the future today? We're excited. We just launched on BitForex. As you look at most exchanges, 99% of the tokens, they come out, they go up, and they crash. So we're pretty excited. We went on. There's an average of 12 to 15 million in volume every day. From our launch, we're up 1,200%. And so we feel like there's a lot of foundation behind what Nasco's doing. A lot of the community and a lot of people that we're getting feedback from love the utility of what we're doing in the foundation. So what's future value? Nasgo, what's GoDaddy? 13 billion. Vapor, 16 billion. Amico, PayPal, 125 billion. This is really the markets that we see we're going to take to the next era. We're going to be the ones leading the charge on the tokenization, the advertising, and the merchant processing. So today, I leave you. Thank you so much for letting us share what we do. We just created a new company called Blockcom Labs. Blockcom, trademarked it, blockchain and .com, the new world. But this is a technology incubator company. So many of you've got, we're here to look at, is this something you'd like to partner on? Is this something that you'd like to look at investment into? So Blockcom will really be, because Nasgo being decentralized, nobody owns it, we created this as really our technology incubator. This is where we've got a technology, a plugin for Salesforce.com that we're building right now to actually tokenize every company on Salesforce.com. And so things like that will be built right through our technology platform. So thank you so much, you guys. Really appreciate the time. If you want to contact, there's my contact information. Thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Very good. Excellent job. We're going to take a 3-minute bio break, and the restrooms are just down the hall.